to this other location, but he doesn't know the location. He doesn't understand what this creature's saying to him. So anyways, the long story short, because we don't have a lot of time, he goes to another place, meets with him for another couple of days. So a total of 6, I think it was 6 days. On the 7th day, he comes to the OSI office. I need to talk to somebody in counterintelligence. And our security officer that screens everybody coming in says, well, that would be Special Agent Doty. He's one of them. What is it about? He said, well, I need to show him some film. I need to talk to him about something. It's okay. So he calls me, the security officer, say, there's a captain up here that wants to talk to you. And I said, well, what's it about? And he tells me, he's not going to tell me. Anyways, he gets back there. He doesn't tell me the whole story, but he says, is there any way you can develop this film? I said, what's on the film? He says, I'm not sure, but it has to do with extraterrestrials. Of course, that perked my interest right away. And I said, well, what do you mean? Did you take this? He said, yeah. I said, is it classified? He said, I don't know. It might be. So I said, yeah, we have a photo lab. We can do it.
That's the craziest story I ever heard, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Did you get?
Anyways, I go back and we have our own photo people, and I say, if we develop this film, he leaves, and I said, well, I'll call you, because I thought I didn't think much of it. And an hour, whatever it was, time, our airman, he's not an OSI agent. He's just a person that works for us, an administrative person that works in a photo lab. No, I mean, he's not an administrative person. He's a photo person. He comes up and he has an envelope. Top secret, because he didn't know. He sees his picture. He don't know what's good. He says, I'm classified. This is the highest I can think of. I said, what the hell's in there? He said, I don't think you should be doing an officer. I think you need to go in a secure room to do it. So I went in a secure room. I opened it up, and here's all these pictures. Well, my first impression was it's all staged. Somebody's dressed up in a costume, and I thought, what the hell is this guy trying to do? But the more I look at the pictures, I realized, boy, that's it. Where did he get that costume out there in the middle of nowhere? And then the more I look at the creature and the face and the hands and the mannerisms, I thought, wow. So I called him in and I confronted him, and I kind of did a hostile interrogation on him because I thought it was a joke, or I thought it was somebody played a joke on him. I said, who gave you this film? He said, oh, I took it. I said, no, you didn't take it. Who gave it to you? He said,
somebody LMH Rick Doty.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good to have that thought. But how many pictures? Because you said he took about 20 the first time, and then he
there were 36 or 35. I mean, I think there's 35 in a row or something.
36.
Yeah, he took 36 in.
Holy crap. Where are these pictures today?
DIA, I had to set them up. I wish I would have kept some now, but I didn't know what to do with them. We did a major investigation on this, right? Because is this guy joking? Is this guy feeding us deception or disinformation? And so I had to do a major investigation on this guy. It took weeks to do it. He took us out to me and some other agents out to where this happened. And I asked, well, where did craft land? Well, he never saw the craft land. He just would see this ball of light, and then the creature would show up. He never saw it land, so he couldn't take us to a location where we could do some measurements and so forth. So that made me curious, and then eventually we had to give him a polygraph examination. And we give polygraph examinations different from the civilian community. It's almost impossible to flunk to beat a polygraph that the government gives you, because a counterintelligence polygraph is very extreme. It's long. You sit down and we have questions, and we tell you answer every one of these questions, yes the first time, no the second time, and truthful the third time. There's nobody going to beat that. So we did that, and we did this over a period of 3 days. We gave him 2 different polygraphs. And he showed no deception at all on these polygraphs. So that's the
and the truth. That's pretty. Okay. Here's the thing though. With what David Grush has done, which has opened the door to hearings and further investigation. It's cases like this, and if they just brought you back to DC in, I think you said 2022, 2021, 22 to talk about this, then this stuff may surface. I want to read you this. This is what here's the quote from Marco Rubio yesterday, or part of it. He says, quote, "There were public figures who we've heard from in the past, while others had not spoken publicly on UFOs. Others, meanwhile, still work in the government. I will say I find most of these people at some point, or maybe even currently, have held very high clearances and high positions within our government. So you have to ask yourself, what incentive would so many people with that kind of qualification have to come forward and make something up?" End quote. Now, I think that's one of the best points that Marco Rubio can make. And in the case of David Grush, I've been saying this from the first time I read Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal's article.
That's true. I mean, that's a good question. Why would you? Well, you're not. You're not going to. Number one, the government's going to investigate you unless you're under that Whistleblower Protection Act. You can get in trouble. They want the truth out. We want disclosure out. And you're going to see, and mark my word, I'm saying this on the Jimmy Church's show. You're going to see others come out. You're going to see David's supervisor. You're going to see some other people. You're going to see a Navy admiral. He's going to come out. He's going to come forth, and he's going to relay. He's already done it to Senate staffers. He's going to come out and going to back up everything that David said and add a ton more to it, because he was an admiral in the United States. I believe he was a one. I don't know, but I'm not familiar with Navy ranks. I believe he was a 1-star, equivalent to 1-star admiral, whatever that is.
It's like a rear admiral.
Yeah.
I had so many. I had friends growing up whose fathers, one friend specifically, his dad was rear admiral of the Southern Fleet, right, in the Pacific. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I should have asked Kevin Davis. I should have had, he would have taken me out of Navy ranks. But anyways, this guy is he's an admiral. I can say he's an admiral. I think he has the 1-bar thing, so I think he's like equivalent to a brigadier general in the Army and the military, in the other branches. But anyways, I've spoke to him. We sat down. We had dinner with him, with some members of our group. He's the real thing, and when he comes out, it's going to shock a lot of people.
So then we have this. In the beginning of June this month, House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer announced an investigation into allegations that top secret military program already has a fully intact UFO in its possession. The investigation will be led by GOP reps Anna Paulina Luna of Florida, and she's a committee member, by the way, and Tim Burchett of Tennessee, who is not a committee member, but he's been very outspoken about all of this. So James Comer has announced this, and the timing of this came out the day after David Grush did his thing, or the day before, I should say. So, and then yesterday, Senator Gillibrand says she's working on scheduling hearings with David Grush. okay? Along with the current or former government officials who seem to corroborate his claims. She went on to say, and this was yesterday, that the hearings will be open to the public if Grush agrees to allow cameras in. Now, this is a Grush decision. Grush is already on camera. So I would assume from Gillibrand's statement that we may have this may be like Watergate. This might be like Ron Contra. This might be like Godfather Part 2.
Yeah, you got that right, Jimmy. It could very well be. I don't know why it would be up to David. I don't know that. I don't know how they're thinking, but I understand what Congress is upset. There's a lot of members of Congress and a lot of, and I don't speak to members of Congress. I mean, I have spoken to them, but we deal with staffers, and there's a lot of staffers that tell us that their boss is really upset over why this has been held against the public for so long. How can they hide this? And there was a leak, I guess, of a film showing Lou and Dr. Putoff and some others going into some room and looking at something. I don't know if you saw that.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, document some pieces, and they're claiming it they were ET things. So we have to understand there's three distinct branches of our government. The legislative branch can make the laws, they can try to pass things, but they have to have the president sign it. And I guarantee you right now, the way the bill is written, that if any entity of the United States government has an extraterrestrial item, they have to report it. That's never going to be passed by Congress, and that's never going to. And the president will never sign it because it's in the executive branch, and there's too many entities within the executive branch, which is all the intelligence communities and the military and research and development. They're going to say absolutely not. That's the dumbest thing you could ever do. Is say, okay, here we got it. So the Soviets and the Russians and North Koreans and the Chinese, and no, that's never going to happen. I mean, that's just we laugh at that way within the intelligence community or within our groups. That's not going to, just because somebody's upset within the legislative branch that they don't know about it, doesn't mean that the executive branch is going to go ahead and sign off on a bill that forces Area 51 or Air Force Research and Development or whoever to release everything they have regarding a UFO. That's not going to happen.
You had a couple of years ago, you revealed on the show, you shocked the world and said that you had a printout of the list of personnel at Area 51.
Yep.
And Shelley is paying me $10, Rick. Paying me $10 to ask you this question. I should do this all night long. $10 a question. $10 a question. Asked Jody about the file from Area 51. He said that Art Bell was on that list. I think there's a lot of reasons Art Bell could have been on that list, but where is this list? You promised me full disclosure on this. You said you described the printer, the size of the paper, dot matrix, the whole thing, and you swore on your guitar collection. That's what
over here. Oh, you can't see mine. My four Fenders.
I have four Fenders in that corner.
Yeah, right, exactly. Or in your bathroom, right? You said.
Yeah, my bathroom, yeah. So, what's up with this list, and when are we going to see it?
Okay. Here's the problem with the list. We obtained this list from a source that we basically disappeared on us, but we verified a lot because we had to we tried so many different ways to verify the list to be authentic. We couldn't just put this out and say, hey, this is an authentic list because this guy gave it to us. Who gave it to you? Well, we don't know who it is. We don't know who he is, but he gave it to us. Well, the credibility of the list just goes down the drain. So we couldn't do that. So we had to spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money to try to verify the list, okay? And we had to go back, all the way back. We had to do historical check. We had people within our group went back and they had to go through archives, government archives in Washington, D.C., look at different things. We sent, I think, 56 FOIA requests up. We got some back. Some of them we didn't get back. Some said, no, we can't give it to you. And so then we went on the list and got people that we knew was on that list. I was on the list, and went back and some of the other people and say, okay, were you on this? Did you work in Area 51 or Groom Lake during this time period? And they would verify it. And then some of the people that we thought was on the list or thought worked out there that showed up wasn't on the list. We had to verify that maybe they were left off the list for some reason. Because if we said that they weren't on the list, they come back with some other documentation. So legally speaking, we had to cover every single base before we could release that. And at the point we're at right now, it's in a legal corner. An attorney and actually a former government attorney spent 30 years in the intelligence community, the government attorney, he's an attorney, and he's looking at make sure we can do what we want to do with it. Now, as far as Artel,
leak the file to me. You can. Okay. I'll give you an address, and then I know that's fine. You better digitize it right now, and I'll leak it. I'll go public. Let the UFO community figure it out.
I'm not in charge of the other people are. But let me tell you about Art Bell. Art Bell's name was on it on two different time periods, and we couldn't figure it out at first. But then we figured out from a colleague of Art's. Art said, and he told us that what actually happened, that they were trying to create a radio station out at Groom Lake for the base radio station. A lot of bases have their own radio stations, low wattage, 5,000. And so that's why Art's name's on there. He was hired. It showed he was with non-clearance. He didn't have a security clearance, but he was escorted at all times out there, and that's what his job was, to make plans, create a radio station, get some kind of procedure going, get an FCC license and so forth to get a radio station. So that's what Art Bell's job is.
Kind of like, so Bob Lazar's name was on the list too, right?
Yeah, he was on the list.
Janitorial? Was it janitorial?
No.
Was it janitorial?
He didn't have a security clearance when he first got there, but he got a security clearance later.
No.
Yeah, he did. From April to, I don't remember, I don't have it here, but there was a period that he had to be escorted at all times. And then after that, he had a security clearance. It wasn't a high security clearance, but he had one. And one of the biggest mistakes this guy makes is that
We're Zounds, the online music shop that gets you gear fast with free shipping on every order. Most orders are delivered the next day from one of our 4 warehouses across the country, including one near you in Ohio. At Zounds, we focus everything we do around getting you your dream gear now, so you don't have to save for months or years. Instead, just make a small first payment when you order, get your gear immediately afterwards, and pay the rest later. We offer 4, 6, 8, and 12 payment options, and will never charge you a single penny of interest ever. Join the community of musicians and creators who buy their gear from Zounds.
he's claiming he works at S4. Well, S4 is underground. S2 is the complex. And S4 is under S2. He says S4, which doesn't. The people that work out there, and the people that have worked with me that's been out there, are saying anybody that ever works out there, doesn't say that they work at S4. They work at S2. And Lazar says, "Oh, I work at S4." No, you work at S2. S4 is under S2. But, what reason he has, I don't know. But, yeah, his name's on there. David Adair's name's on there.
No, Adair's name.
David is on there.
Now
wow.
you're just making stuff up, Rick.
No, I'm not making it up, Jimmy. I'll show you when I can get this clear to give to you. I'll show you that, his name is on there.
I'll drive to
In
New
the early
Mexico
days.
right
Remember, this is 1979 to 1990. This is a 10-year period. That's why it's so thick.
Where's the list?
The list is in a safe place in McLean, Virginia.
Okay.
The guy, one of our guys.
I'll pay for the plane tickets. You and I, let's fly to Virginia. Let's do it this weekend.
This weekend. 4th of July weekend, Jimmy.
I want to see. Oh, that's right. I've got a 4th of July party on Saturday. Oh, you got out of it. You got lucky. You got lucky. I was flying to Virginia. I just want to put my eyes on it. I just want to be able to say that I've seen.
The way we're working it out. Again, I'm not in charge, but what we want to do is take some pictures.
Why don't we do it on my TV show on Gaia?
That's a good idea.
Why don't we do it? Why don't we do an episode on Gaia? We can redact everything else. We can show Bob's name. We can show Art Bell's name and David Adair's name.
I already had an idea with Sid, my producer, to do just that. But if you want to do it on your show rather than Cosmic Disclosure.
Sid's my producer.
He's our producer.
Do we have to have this discussion once again? I've known Sid longer than you've known Sid. No, you haven't. I've known Sid longer than you have not. Why don't we do a show on it? Why don't we do the big reveal?
I've already.
Would you do?
If I can get, like I said, I'm not in charge of it. There's people in front of, more senior than me within my group that's controlling this because they have their plan for disclosing that thing.
But they whoever it is, they know who I am, and my word is gold. And if we redact, the point is those 3 names. I could care less about Bob Smith from Wichita, who was an engineer at Groom Lake. That's not of the concern. But those 3 names are a big deal. So what and we'll redact everything else and we'll do a show of it. And I promise.
Sounds great. Sounds absolutely fantastic.
I promise complete. I'm not into doxing anybody. We're not going to do that. But if we could show that, we'll do it. All right.
Okay.
I've got a juice card at Gaia. I'm willing to play. All right. I've only got one though. So once I get the card. I'll
you're well liked, that guy. I can guarantee you're well liked him.
Better be. Guy is great. Okay. Well, yeah. All right. Back to we're gonna do this. Okay. I'll make the phone call.
Okay.
There's another part to Gillibrand where she announced full funding for the Air Office. And in the Senate Armed Service Committee's markup of, FY24, the National Defense Authorization Act, And she's also pushing a measure in this year's must-pass national defense. In response to Grush's claim, the federal government is hiding special access programs from Congress. Her proposal would bar funding for any government program that isn't directly funded by Congress. This is a really big deal. Do you think that'll pass?
No, never. No, it won't pass. There's too many toes that would be stepped on if that happened, and they're not going to get approval from deep within the intelligence community, especially the contractors community, because believe it or not, the contractors have a lot of pull, and
well, isn't this what Eisenhower warned us about?
yeah, exactly.
I mean, exact scenario. I mean, not even like a little bit close. This is exactly what he said.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't allow the American people and this country to be run by military contractors. We can't let that. And we were he said they were dangerously close. This was right after. This was his exit speech, right? His last speech.
Yeah, 1959, I think.
Yeah, as he left the White House and Kennedy came in. So the Kennedy won the election. But this is exactly what he warned us about, and that we cannot give up this control. Well, the control ended up happening, and the those that cut the checks in Washington, and they cry about budgeting and stuffing different bills with their little projects for their districts, and I get that. I understand that. You make your deals and your promises to get elected, and you've got your community that you want to support. I get that part, but you can't cry about lack of funding when you are writing blank checks and they go poof, and you don't even know what they're being spent on, and there's no accountability. That's the part that disturbs me, and where I think Gillibrand is flying right over the target here.
Oh, absolutely. There's, I think in this last fiscal year budget, defense allocation, there's $28 billion. We have people, there are other people I know, the Black Law, he looks deeply into budgets. But there are people out there that really, really, really monitor every line item they can see in a budget. And there's people out there that found there's $26 billion that's unaccounted for. It's just there in one line, and it's not figured on the bottom. So there's $26 billion that's hidden from the American public, and that's wrong. We should know where that now, if it's classified, there's a particular line item that you can put it in, research and development, whatever, classified, okay. But there's 26 billion that doesn't add up. So where's that $26 billion? That's a lot of money, $26 billion. I mean, to the American people, that's a lot of money, not to the government. We want to know where that money is. And people within will say, well, it's going to go to black projects. It's going in black projects. It's paying off some other country to hide our black projects at Pine Gap or someplace in wherever we're hiding. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think that's just ridiculous that. And there was a book written sometime after the Vietnam War. It was in the 70s, early 70s. And I remember my dad had it, and my dad read the book, and he was really upset over it. Anyways, the book was about how contractors actually ran that Vietnam War. They wanted to prolong that war as long as they could, so the government would buy their products, their bombs and their bullets and their airplanes and their other technologies.
Toilet paper, food, toothbrushes, boots, socks.
Just like Halliburton did with the war in Iraq. I mean, Dick Cheney should have been. Well, I won't get into politics, but anyways, you know what I'm talking about. But and the waste of money. That's just incredible. This country, I know we have a lot of money, but not really. I mean, we're so far in debt that we can hide $26 billion someplace, and the American public will never find that. That's just wrong.
Dick, thank you so much. I'll be in touch over the next couple of days, and you and the family and everybody else have a great 4th of July. Fantastic conversation tonight. We are in a very tangible, real moment here. Things are moving at a faster clip than it's out of control. All right, it's out of control, but I think you say probably not. I say no, not so fast. I think disclosure is right around the corner. I really do. I think it's happening. I do. I feel that way. I feel it in my gut. So
well, I think we'll get some disclosure, but we'll never get full disclosure. That's my belief.
And we'll agree to disagree. Good night and good luck, Rick Doty. And I'll give you a call tomorrow. Thank you so much, Rick.
Okay, Jimmy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great show. Great conversation. Thank you so much, Rick Doty, right there. And lots to unpack in tonight's show. I'll leave that to all of you, and we'll hit some follow-ups on all of this. But lots to unpack tonight. Lots to unpack. And what am I doing tomorrow night? Does anybody know? Tomorrow night is last night's Seth Shostak.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Did you just see what I just did?
Garitano. Is that tomorrow night?
Following,
I can't
remember. Twitch, hit the follow.
Hold on for a second. Let me see
shit.
if I might be able to do this. And I don't have my
home one. Is
stuff. Oh yeah, I do. I've got it right here. Tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night is Chris Garitano. Tomorrow night, he is back with us right here on Fade to Black. I knew that. Doty's got me all messed up, and that was a great conversation tonight. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Listen, everybody, get your T-shirts, get your Game Changer memberships. Help support the show. Did you enjoy the conversation tonight? Help support the show. The links are below. All right, T-shirts are back. The Game Changer memberships are back. All right. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Free. Thank you to Dennis and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2023 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or reused anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night with Chris Garitano, I want you to be safe. Go back, Lee Tappy.
It used to be that the UFO UAP topic was strictly a forbidden subject matter, right? In fact, if you spoke of it, you would likely become the laughing stock of the day. Well, since then, the topic has gained a lot of relevancy. It's gaining a lot of traction, and rightly so. In fact, just a few months ago was the first ever congressional hearing in the United States on UFOs and UAPs. And since then, Mexico has had a conference on it, or a hearing. NASA has had a hearing on it. And so we brought in Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett, the man that with a few of his colleagues was able to set that hearing up here in the U.S. And so we're here to dissect that hearing, talk about some of the government programs that he knows about, that has a little bit of knowledge of, and talk about how we're going to achieve full disclosure from both our government and the military-industrial complex companies. Ladies and gentlemen, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell in the bottom there to get notified. Head over to Apple and Spotify, leave us a review, and most of you already know this, we see you taking reels, taking content from us, turning it into your own creations. We love it. We made it super easy on you. Head down in the description. There are thousands of raw reels for you to download for free, turn them into your own creations, put them on social media, monetize them, make money on them. All we ask is that you tag the show and give us a little bit of credit. Anyways, love you all. Patreon, thank you for making this possible. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Congressman Tim Burchett to the Sean Ryan Show.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Congressman Tim Burchett, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Just call me Tim.
All right, we'll call you Tim from here on out.
Right on.
For starters, I just wanted to say thank you to you and your staff for getting me into the whistleblower, the first ever congressional hearing on UFO, UAP stuff a couple months back. That was really eye-opening, and it was nice to see our government talking about it, and I hope it... Is it going to happen again?
Yeah, and thank your boy Eli Crane, because he's the one who told me about you and stuff, and so that, and my staff is wonderful, by the way. But yeah, I went to McCarthy, went to Speaker, we wrote a letter, myself, Luna, and Jared Moskowitz, they're all out of Florida. Gates wrote the letter, and it said we wanted a select committee. And a select committee would allow us a little more power. And I went to see Kevin McCarthy about it first week back after the August recess, and he said that, in fact, no, we would not get a select committee. We would, but he would give me another hearing. He said, this stuff's really popular. And I said, why didn't we get a hearing? Why can't we have select committee? And I didn't think we were going to get it because nobody wants to turn over power to anything up there. And he said, the intelligence committee had, we'd stepped on some toes, and intelligence community, I believe, too. And so, but we could have another committee meeting, committee hearing, or whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, we're going to have one very similar to the last one. We just got to change the focus. I wanted granted, I was not able to chair the committee, but I was steering the committee, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I mean, it was
my deal. It was our deal. We got myself and Luna and Moskowitz and Matt Gates and the rest of us. We'd sort of formulated this idea way back and pushed it together and tried to get a date and locked them down and just kept hammering them. And then, of course, the UFO community, it's freaking worldwide, man. I do every weekend. I'm always on. I try not to turn anybody down. I do a lot of these podcasts and stuff overseas in England. I mean, I do them in Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't travel much, as you could imagine. But yeah, it's huge, and people all over the country contacted the speaker's office apparently and the other members, and then lo and behold, we got that first one, and then now they want to do another. So I'll take it as a win.
Yeah, definitely. What was the conversations that sparked this whole thing within Congress?
It all started with TMZ.
It started with TMZ.
You know who they are, right?
I know who they are.
Well, their cameraman's a buddy of mine, and we're good buddies. And I took him to lunch the other day, as a matter of fact. And he'll sometimes grab me for a quick quote or something on something off the wall, And I'd followed this UFO report. I knew what it was going to be, and I knew it'd just be a redacted piece of garbage. Wouldn't be anything look like somebody shot it with a 12 gauge. It'd just be all these spots and words and nothing put together. And so the reporter says to me from TMZ, he says, "Hey, you heard about this UFO report?" It's just kind of random spot. I said, "Yeah." I said, more people believe in UFOs than believe in Congress. And he laughed, and that turned out to be my quote. And I ended up putting it on a T-shirt that I sell on my dadgum website, which is kind of funny. But then all of a sudden, I start getting, and I said, it's just going to be redacted. It'll be garbage. And sure enough, that's what it was, because they said, oh, we're going to release all this stuff, and they ain't going to release anything.
Yeah.
They won't even release the Kennedy assassination files, and Kennedy's been dead over 60 years. There's nobody alive that's even mentioned in those reports. But it's power, it's control, it's money, that's Washington, D.C. So
why do you think they're holding on to the... Because from what I understand, that report was supposed to be released by 2017. Mike Pompeo was director of CIA, if I remember correctly.
I know Pompeo. Why
do you think they're holding on to those?
Power, control, money, all those things. I think it's, they put this out occasionally, and I'm a Christian. I try to be a Christian. I'm not a very good one, but they always say, it's going to wreck the religious belief system. It doesn't wreck it for me.
They're already wrecking it anyways.
Well, the first chapter of Genesis, God created the heavens and the earth. The heavens and the earth. You go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel saw the wheel. He talks about a wheel within a wheel, which you would describe what a traditional UFO would be today if you were, the saucer thing. But back then, the most technologically advanced piece of equipment we had was a wheel. So he's equating this thing, and they'll say, well, it's a vision, it's this, it's that. But you look at any civilization, and go in hieroglyphics, go in the pyramids, the Aztecs, everybody, the Hindus, everybody has these craft in their history that they talk about, and that was way before Al Gore invented the internet. So there's no connection there.
So hold on, you're saying that there is. So know this about me, but I'm a new Christian.
Okay.
And so I am just
Welcome
now
to the club.
digging in. Thank you. It's good to be here. So the Bible, I've started the New Testament. I have not dug into the Old. So you're saying that UFO...
First chapter of Ezekiel. Go back and read it, and you'll think you're on acid or something. It's a little, but if you read it, and realize too, it's the King James translation. So King James, you know, he translated it from Aramaic, I believe. So I believe that's what it was. I think that's right. I'm sure somebody's going to correct me on that, but I'm not a biblical philosopher. I just read it, and so. Yeah, it's in there, and it talks about a visitor coming down. It describes the craft. It describes the landing gear. I think it talks about them in some translations like hood feet. So you'd think, you know, a traditional pad that comes out, you know, like you've seen in the science fiction movies and stuff. But yeah, it's in there, and it's in every religion has it, and but you know. And I say this all the time, and it drives people crazy because I repeat myself a lot, but every night, my dadgum dogs, Buzz, Charlie, and Roscoe, they won't go to the bathroom at 9 o'clock at night. They got to get up at 4:30 in the morning. So and they're scratching at the doors trying to get out, so I take them. And I go outside, and I look at those stars in the sky, and those stars, the light left those stars, some of those stars, before the time of Christ. I mean, that is the vastness of God's great universe. And honestly, do you think we're the best that God can do?
No.
No. So I just, we're very imperfect. And I'm not worried about them. They don't scare me or anything, because with that technology, if they could travel at whatever they travel at or however they travel, it's beyond my comprehension. But they would have done us in a long time ago if they wanted to.
So you believe in this 100%, zero doubts?
I believe in the Bible.
Do you get a lot of flack within Congress for approaching this subject?
I do, and I respect some of the friends. Some people on my side of the aisle will use it against me and try to bring somebody against me. But I've talked to so many members, pretty high-profile members, brother, that pulled me off to the side and said,
"Man, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on Twitch, hit that follow button. Did you see what I just did, man?"
Or I was,
catching
you know, let me tell you what my wife told me, you know, that she saw, or my husband, or whatever. Very many members, and they don't want to come testify because they don't want the heat, and I don't care. I really don't. You know, they're not going to.
The best player on their team, 24.
That's not even on the list of my worries right now. I just think the government needs to be transparent.
Me too. We'll get into all this. Everybody that comes on the show gets a gift. So,
all right.
This is your gift, Congressman. Thank you.
I have to make sure it's legal.